guys, I hope you all are doing well. So I wanted to make a YouTube video ever since I came back from Ruby Lake, and I was there for a mountain resort camp sort of thing, and it was such a different experience for me, and it's taught me so much, especially when it concerns, literature and writing. And I also took this book with me, which is called Women Who Run with the Wolves. So I actually started reading this book last year, and like I didn't really read much of it. It's like, it's that kind of book that you just read a few chapters sometime and then read the other few chapters sometimes, and like, you just take breaks from the book and then read because it's just so intense, and it's just so relatable to the human soul that everything it says has weight, and you just need, you know you need a break to like process all of it, and like, how do I say, like, practice those teachings. So like some things that I learned at Ruby Lake was that firstly they had such predictable schedule. So like, I was volunteering there with World Packers. So what that basically means is like I live at their area for free, and they give me lunch, dinner, breakfast, and everything, and in turn I just do some volunteering work for them. So like the work was usually from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., and then 1 p.m. to around 2 or 3 p.m. No, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. there was lunch and lunch break, and after, from I think 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. there was just the last amount of work that we had to do. We had to work around like 5 hours a day, and then we could just do anything. There was a really beautiful lake there, Ruby Lake, and it was so clear. And they had docks, like private docks for the resort, and you could just jump off from there every time you got off work. And yeah, they also had canoes that we could just take for free, and so I went canoeing as well. I swam in the lake, I jumped into the lake. It was just such an amazing experience. And like every time, now I'm back in Waterloo, which is where my university is. And if you know me, you know that the routine life is something that I really hate. But like living in a routine at Ruby Lake, it just taught me that, every place has its different culture, and you just have to experience that culture that way. And yeah, so if you guys ever feel like, you're stuck in a routine, you're stuck in a trapped surrounding, and you just feel really lost, you don't know what to do, firstly I think what you really need is an escape. And maybe go someplace else for just a few days, and if your budget does not allow that, just try to read a book that will help you through that. Because in some situations I completely understand it's difficult to escape. Like there's either financial traps, or there's like family traps, and it gets really difficult. So in that case, you guys should definitely get a book that helps you feel understood, that helps you feel like there's more to life than this. And like whatever I'm feeling right now, it's not a mental sickness, I'm not sick. It's just that I'm struggling right now, and that's okay, because I will eventually leave behind the struggling. So like something, and the book that I took with me there was Women Who Run with Wolves. And like it's really astonishing to me that the chapters that I read there were so in sync with what I was actually feeling. And like there was this one chapter about, my god, don't tell me I forgot. um yeah, so there was one chapter about skeleton woman, which is like when you fall in love with someone, and how if you've been through some trauma in your past life, then you're really scared to fall in love with someone. But like the truth is that eventually you just need to face not just your demons but also the other person's demons if you want to fall in love with them, if you want to allow love to come into your life. You have to go through the darkness first, and you have to accept that relationships will die. And like, what matters is that you revive them again by doing new things. It doesn't mean that, okay, this part of our relationship isn't good, that part of our relationship isn't good. It doesn't work like that. That doesn't mean you break up. It just means that, you find new ways to spark up the relationship. Another really interesting part of the book was that, so basically, Women Who Run with the Wolves, it's like written by Clarissa Pinkola, and like she's like, using all these mythological fairy tales, these mythological creatures, and what she's doing is basically she's analyzing them, breaking them down to relate them to the human mind. Like, how do they symbolize things in the human mind, spirits in the human mind? Like, how does it symbolize other people in the world and their impact on us? So there was this other story about the duckling. I think you guys may have heard of this one. It's by Hans Christian Andersen. So she analyzes that book as well, and like, it's just so fucking beautiful how this woman breaks down every single part of the story. And she's just like, as a child growing up, if you were in some way different, like, maybe your family did not want you there, and maybe your surroundings were always, nagging on you, like bullying you or something, mentally or physically, verbally, like, it doesn't matter, but like, you just felt that sense of indifference. You were like, no, I'm alone in this world, and like, no one's supporting me. And like, the ugly duckling feels that way too. And at first his mother tries to support him, but because the community is so against him, eventually even his mother starts being like, I'm tired of this, I just want to live my life peacefully, and like, having him and like supporting him is just making that difficult for me. So like, eventually the mother support also, really becomes a lot lesser, which is something that really affects the child's mind. But like, a lot, this happens for a lot of years, but eventually the child is like, no, I don't want to stay here, I want to go away. And I think Pinkola mentions that, this thirst to want to go away, to want to go away, to find something, maybe means that you have this urge in you to find where you belong. It's not that, like, if you're born somewhere, you belong there. Family isn't everything. You have to create your own family, and you have to understand that you have to constantly keep moving until you find it. And that's the beauty of life. You have this idea in your head that, I'm living with my family right now, but I don't think this is where I belong. I'm i'm spending time with my friends right now, but I don't think this is where I feel truly understood, or where I truly want to be. So, in that case, you have to go out there. Like, there's just no other way out. You have to go out there, because out there you'll find people who are exactly like you, not exactly like you, but who, like, not even understand you. They just fit who you are, your personality is. And like, they're a different kind and you're a different kind, and that different kind just fits together perfectly. So like, in the end, in the duckling finds out a pair of swans, and like, obviously on his journey he suffers a lot of stuff. And like, which is obviously metaphorical for how our journeys will always have like these difficulties. We're always going to be brought down, we're always going to feel like quitting. But like, in the end, he finds these swans, and he finds out that he was actually, a swan, and he got lost in the ducks. Like, he was actually a swan. And like, that just makes the story so much more beautiful, because like, even though he suffered a lot on his journeys, eventually he gets to this place where he belongs and where he's ready to settle. He's like, no, you know I don't want to like go away anymore, I don't want to run away anymore, I'm fine being who I am in this place. And that's just beautiful. So like, I feel like that's another really good lesson that I learned from the book.